The word disingenuous is a word which people use when they want to say that somebody's been lying, but they don't want to sound too cheap about it. They want to sound rather posh. Well, there we are. The BBC is disingenuous. It was criticised for allowing Nadine Dorries to talk in a dismissive way about Sue Gray as a friend of Keir Starmer. Well, I think she's only a recent friend of Keir Starmer's, and they've only recently started talking, though they have known each other for some time. Nadine Dorries described her as a personal friend of Keir Starmer, someone who's been in discussion over who knows what period of time about taking the role as his chief of staff with the primary objective of taking down the Tory government. I don't think that necessarily is exactly what she's doing. She's being offered the role of Chief of Staff. Is it she who's trying to take down the Tory government? I'm not sure that's necessarily the case, but the point is she has had an experience of working with the top of the Conservative government, and I can't imagine that she has found that very edifying. If I were Sue Gray, I would seriously consider about jumping ship, and if I had been offered a job by Sir Keir Starmer, I would seriously consider taking it. I don't think that suggests that I'm impartial. It suggests I've had a Damascus moment. I've fallen off my horse and realised that my life so far has been wrong. Now, Nadine Dorries clearly is putting forward a particular political view. It's a political view put forward by somebody who can hardly string a sentence together, somebody who would describe herself as an ex-Secretary of State, and someone who is on the Number Times best-selling list. Well, I don't think selling a lot of books means that you can write. And as I say, I've said many times, I've bought the books, I've read the rubbish. I know what it's about, and actually she spins quite a good yarn, but the language that she uses in the books is completely different to the language that she uses in an interview and the language that she uses on Twitter. So what can we say here? That there seem to be three completely different versions of Nadine Dorries, which is probably why she is so ubiquitous, why she's always around, because there's three of them, like God. And the BBC has been criticised for not challenging her comments on the radio on Radio 4. And what the BBC has actually said, it claims that the Guardian reported yesterday that the BBC has apologised for the failure to properly scrutinise claims made by Nadine Dorries on a radio show, capping a day of controversies for the corporation. The broadcaster said in a statement on Friday that there should have been more challenge. Well, that's not actually an apology. Let me read you what the BBC has actually said. It said, Nadine Dorries was the first and only cabinet minister and Boris Johnson loyalist to have given an interview about Sue Gray's appointment. And the programme was keen to press her on her reaction as well as what the appointment meant for the work of the Privileges Committee. In hindsight, we agree that there should have been more challenge to Dorries' claims. That's not an apology. That's an admission that we didn't do what we intended to do or we should have done differently, but that's not an apology. So I don't quite understand what The Guardian is getting at here. The Guardian, again, people are using words as signposts rather than words as something that have meaning. Words have meaning. And if one word doesn't work, you use another. You keep using words until you've got the meaning you want. But using a word as some sort of signpost, that's not good enough. Not from a national newspaper. And so both The Guardian and the BBC, I think, are at fault here for using words in a sort of snivelly way. A snivelly way. It's not, It's not appropriate. Use words in a chosen way. Use chosen words in a careful way. Then keep doing it until you get it right.